At its most basic level, an airport has just two parts, an airfield and a terminal. An airport's most critical assets are its runways. An airport with only one runway faces much higher risk, as an emergency landing or failure of the lighting can completely stop the flow of planes and passengers through the airport, causing delays. At a busy airport like the Nnamdi Azikiwe in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, as many as 4 million people move through the airport, and no passenger plane would arrive or depart without this critical infrastructure. On the program this week, we examine the proposed closure of the airport in about 2 months for a comprehensive runway rehabilitation work. Welcome to Aviation this week on Channels Television. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.
Aviation promotes global economic growth and development, and airports where planes arrive and depart act as a facilitator for growth while unlocking latent demand. Nigeria has 26 of these terminals, operated by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. An airport is defined as an aerodrome with facilities for flights to take off and land. Most of them often have facilities to store and maintain aircraft and a control tower. An airport also consists of a landing area, which comprises an aerially accessible open space including at least one operationally active surface, such as a runway. Runways may be man-made surface, often asphalt, concrete, or a mixture of both, or a natural surface which is either made of grass or ice. The runway has been described as the most valuable asset of an airport. That's the center of discussions here, as the federal government officially announces March 8th as the date for the closure of the Abuja runway for reconstruction. "34 years after the runway was constructed, the decision of the government to make Kaduna Airport as an alternative is not going down well.
Shutting the runway, repairing the runway, but we also believe, as the minister said, wisdom cannot be finished. We can chip in our own side of the story. We believe that the runway should be either repaired at night, like what is done in other countries, and where repairs are repaired from 6 o'clock to 6 in the morning. The runway in Abuja is 3,900 meters. If you split the runway into two, you will get roughly 2,000 meters. With 2,000 meters of runway, they can fix one side for 3 weeks or even for 4 weeks and come back to the other side. With 2,000 meters of runway, a 737 can comfortably get into it for a 1-hour flight. A CRJ, a -8, and the local flights can come, local domestic carriers can come in. The international carriers can go to Lagos and Kano, and we distribute for them.
Speaking on behalf of AOC, Abuja, International Airline Operators, and I want to let the forum know that we have our individual concern too, apart from the security issues and other issues that have been itemized. And we might have our individual stand on this. And for us, we believe that Kaduna might be an alternative for local operators, but definitely not for international airline operators. But we are still going to get back on this.
On the other hand, the Travel Agents Association thinks the government should consider some suggestions that will make life easier for travelers.
The international airlines, for those 6 weeks, to fly all the Abuja passengers to Lagos. They should have an arrangement where the local carriers, the domestic carriers, move them from Lagos to Kaduna. Then from Kaduna, they can now have a free shuttle that takes them from Kaduna to Abuja. Now, in all this process, they are still in the care of the airline, and the government is providing adequate protection for these intending passengers. Asking the international airlines to fly to Kaduna, I don't think it's completely safe because of the crew. I don't think it's cost effective. I think it's just going to put a lot of burden on the international carrier.
Before now, the plan to construct a second runway for Abuja was stalled when the Senate, at its plenary, said a 64 billion naira contract sum was too high. The Senate at the time noted that a Terminal 5 in Heathrow Airport with 4 lanes of 4-kilometer runway cost less than 25 billion naira, while the entire Gombe Airport with 3.66-kilometer runways cost 8.2 billion naira.
The Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, insists the Abuja Airport runway has failed after 34 years of use and adds that the Kaduna Airport is the better alternate. He was speaking at the recent stakeholders meeting in Abuja.
The Abuja runway was designed and commenced operation in 1982, and the lifespan is 20 years. So we've gone beyond the lifespan to some 14 years. Some 14 odd years.